Russian troops left the strategically important town of Gori in central Georgia. They moved out of the town of Igoeti, their closest position to the Georgian capital. And to the west, a large armored column left the Senaki military base and headed into Abkhazia. But from the Black Sea port of Poti, there were reports that Russian soldiers were digging a trench at a checkpoint that they were guarding. With more details, here's Jonah Hull.
This is as far forward as it's possible to get to watch the Russian withdrawal. 4 p.m. local time, and first the road to Tbilisi, then the Georgian town of Gori begin emptying of Russian forces. Considering the many delays in getting to this point, it looks like a swift exit. The commander of Russian forces in Georgia had said they'd be gone by the evening. This one of the Russian checkpoints has just been given the order to leave. The engine is running, the troops are on board, they're getting ready to leave, and just down the road here, with Gori in that direction, you can probably make out a column of armor and troops, troop carriers and the like, also preparing to take to the road towards South Ossetia, Skin-Valley, and eventually perhaps onwards to Russia. But this is not a total withdrawal. The Russians prefer to call it a pullback. In Moscow, the deputy chief of Russia's defense staff explained units would remain, both in South Ossetia and in a security buffer zone stretching 7 kilometers from South Ossetia into Georgia itself. They say they'll also retain control of a key highway linking the Georgian capital Tbilisi to the sea. It is far from clear how these Russian stipulations will go down in terms of the peace process. There is no specific provision for them in the peace plan. Just outside Gori, the Georgian police are waiting for the all-clear to enter the town. It means the end of war and nothing else, said this man. We've been waiting for this all along. This war should never have started. We didn't need it. These are anxious moments, as no one can be 100% certain Gori and its surrounding military bases are completely free of both Russian troops and South Ossetian irregulars. And they've no idea what they'll find when they get there. Explosions have been heard around Gori, the Russians destroying military infrastructure as they depart. The withdrawal is good news for the humanitarian situation in Georgia. Aid groups restricted in their work by the Russian presence will now be able to reach previously inaccessible areas. At the military hospital in the town of Gori, the displaced are still arriving. Most are elderly and tired. Some are sick. They still appear shocked by the events of the last 2 weeks that have reduced their lives to this.
There is still shooting every day. We have to hide in our gardens. We can no longer deal with this.
Most of the work we will really focus on in Skin-Valley and also on this side is access to people who are still detained, being able to help people who are separated get back together, or at least be in contact so they know where they are, looking for missing people, and also where there are people, where there are mortal remains that need to be brought back to the families.
The bus is heading for better care in Tbilisi. The bulk of the Russian army has left in the opposite direction, and there will be some hope now that the tens of thousands of displaced and refugees can think of heading home. Not all will find it possible. Jonah Hull, Al Jazeera, Gori.